I'm an immigrant and everything in America is a scam. People worship money and friendships are few and far between. It's a hot mess. Yeah, we got big problems in this country. We are experiencing the final boss of capitalism. We are experiencing the logical conclusion of decades of the far right working to undermine community, working to undermine the quality of life for the working class, working to exploit and harness and enhance racism and misogyny and transphobia and xenophobia in this country. The super rich in this country have done a really damn good job at creating an America that works for them, a government that is beholden to them, politicians who prioritize them at our expense. They've done a real bang up job getting the courts to work for them, Citizens United, right? Even before that, I mean, Reaganomics, right? I think the far right in this country has done such a fabulous job eroding public education that we don't know our history. We don't know what America was like when the super rich were actually taxed. Too many Americans believe this is how it's always been, especially I think for a lot of Gen Z. They don't really know an America without the presence of Donald Trump in politics. Yeah, I completely agree that America is a hot mess. And you could go back further than Project 2025, further than Reaganomics. We can go all the way back to before America was a country. We have this pervasive underpinning of manifest destiny, of pull yourself up by your bootstraps, of toxic individualism. We have all of these things that have been pushed on us as values that are actually to our detriment, to the detriment of our entire society, and they exist in our social subconscious. They really influence the way that we see ourselves as Americans, the way that we see our responsibility and relationship to other people, to the planet, and also how we relate to our government. I'm not so sure that people in this country do worship money. Sure, the corporations tell us that we should, the super rich tell us that there is no greater good than being extremely wealthy, that accumulating wealth is not only your obligation, but it is something that will give you a good quality of life. We don't have this concept of lagom in the United States. We don't have this concept of enough. We don't have this concept of security. And I know I've said it before, but I think the heart of this is not necessarily that we worship money. It's that we worship the idea of security. We have anxiety around money because we have no security. We've not organized our society to make sure that we are taken care of. We don't have social safety nets. We don't have pensions. We don't have college paid for. We don't have universal basic health care. We don't have universal basic income. We don't have paid maternity and paternity leave. We don't have a good system to take care of people who are disabled, to take care of the elderly. I just made a video about how 9 million elderly Americans live in poverty or food insecure. In the wealthiest nation on earth, our children are denied access to a good education. We don't have good child care. We don't actually care about children or take care of children very well at all in this country. Speaking of which, we have terrible maternal mortality rates. We have terrible access to healthcare in general. Like, our basic needs are not being met. All of the things society should be organized around doing, caring for its populace, we don't do that in this country. Our taxes fund the military industrial complex, and they fund fucking Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. They fund the super rich, and they don't take care of our needs very well at all. So we have a lot of anxiety because we are very insecure people in the US. I think that that insecurity is harnessed very, very effectively by the super rich. Toxic individualism, manifest destiny, the myth of self-sufficiency, all of those are leveraged by the super rich because they play into that narrative that, like, oh, accumulate money for yourself. You can step on people on your way up the ladder. If you have enough for you personally to become self-sufficient, then you don't need to take care of anybody else because they'll all take care of themselves. We shouldn't organize our society for the good of all, for to care for everybody's needs. No, 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 no. You just worry about you. And if somebody else amasses vast quantities of resources for themselves, takes more than their fair share, well, that's fine because our ethos in this country is individualism. Every man for himself, everybody gets to look out for themselves. What an absolute lie and what a detriment that has been to all of us. It has made us far less secure. It has made us far more vulnerable to exploitation from the super rich, far less resilient as a nation. It's also made us very, very lonely if you only have to care about yourself. if you don't feel an obligation to your neighbor, if you don't have a sense of community interdependence, if you don't understand the reality that we are not only more resilient, but more abundant people when we work together, when we work to support each other's needs, that when we care for each other, we are caring for ourselves. The fact that all of that is just so downplayed and ignored and pushed to the side in American culture, it makes us far less resilient and far, far more lonely. Yeah, we're a hot mess. We're a real hot mess here.